If you listen to the Entrepreneur and Eagles 102.5 FM, you know that there are always open opportunities for you to know how to, just expand to expand your business. And today we have a gentleman in the studio. There are opportunities for you, especially young people. If you're listening to this program, there is a lot for you to get. So we'll take just a musical, and we are going live on Facebook and on YouTube, Eagles FM, Eagles with an, so you can drop your comment right there. So in just a moment, we will come in with our guest. And what are these opportunities, you might ask? We'll be right back.
You got the whole world in your hand. Within the past, we know you got the whole world in your hand. Commando, I get caught and I get life. Everything is to go work for me. Me and no dick to the room with the cutter. Now you make a favor, follow me. Oh. You let me focus. Everything I want, I order. Everything nice and smooth. Me like you get drop. You let me focus. Everything I want, I order. Everything nice and smooth. Me like you get drop. You got the whole world in your hands. You got the whole world. Put it on you. You got the whole world in your hands. Commander, yeah. Follow the lamb, they feel it in the totori. And you tell me, say my picking when you need me, make you there for me. It's not my confidence. Every time I call you overcompetent. I no need to come up from you, you're the best. And I go this steady later, me no let me focus. Everything I want, I order. Everything nice and smooth. You let it drop out. Me no let me focus. Everything I want, I order. Everything nice and smooth. You like it drop out. You got the whole world in your hands.
This is Eagles 102.3 FM.
All right, so we have things that you can actually dive into, and it will make you to become a great impact in your society, not only for yourself but for your loved.
So Evelyn Lewis is just a humble servant in the tech industry. Lewis is just a humble servant in the tech industry for the last 37 years, or 30 for the last 37 years, or 37 years, shall I say, in the sense that this has been all my life in terms of techpreneurship and different types of entrepreneurship, and we're bringing that journey to Nigeria. That journey has taken me to encourage you to be patient, but spend more time learning about where those opportunities are and how you need to equip yourself kind of prepared for it. And I guess the question that we're going to be answering today is how should you be prepared for it? And looking at what we we have not had one question to ask a second time of that. We have the support. Now it's getting to exploring what that opportunity is, which is providing over 50,000 jobs across Nigeria as a pilot. We say a pilot because we know that there's a lot more that can be done in this space. And when we talk of tech opportunities, we look at some very interesting statistics that are playing to our favor, which is this continent, in particular in Nigeria, has the youngest workforce. And in very short periods of measurement, whether it's 2030, 2050, we're still that majority that the world is going to be looking for the manpower to run global economies across the board. And that opportunity set is going to span developers and folks like that, but the whole ecosystem that is supporting growth in general. So we're pretty excited to talk about that in more details as we go. But the tech scene in Nigeria is vibrant, and it's
Here, some people say, well, I'm done with the university stage, so I might not have the opportunity to be a techie the way I would have loved to. Now, these opportunities that you're bringing, who are likely going to be benefiting from these opportunities?
Well, I think there's a broad set, but there's a particular focus on those who have already finished college. Their primary target, because we figured if you've already finished college, and particularly if you've already gone through your NYSC, that if you felt hopeless for a while and thought that you were limited because you finished college and you expect to get a job and you're not getting it, we're saying, okay, be patient, but here's a new way to upskill what you've already learned from NYSC. And from that upskilling, there are two sets of opportunities that will come your way. One is via way of a job, and the other one is by way of entrepreneurship. So we trigger both aspects of it, but more so opening you to an outsourcing BPO industry that is over $1.5 trillion, globally, of which Africa is only getting a very small percent of right now. Neither I say Nigeria as the leader in that particular space, but also looking at where job projections are being put by global markets, like the World Bank projection right now is saying in the next 5 years, over 170 million tech workers will be needed from this
Will
space.
be needed.
Yes.
Wow.
Only less than 2% of that is expected to come from Africa.
Wow.
So if you tell me now about all the opportunities and all the jobs that we're talking about that
Yes.
are not there, they're actually there. But it just requires for you to upskill a bit. So whether you've gotten your degree in some other trades before, there are ways to apply that degree and upskill it within a very short time. And the programs we've brought in are anywhere between 3 to 6 months. I mean, of course, it's not going to give you mastery skills, but it's going to give you enough to be able to obtain some of those jobs,
Wow.
but at the same time start a business in the area for those who are committed. I think the key word there is committed. It requires a lot of commitment from you, dedication. It's not the usual class you're used to taking. This is not to go pass an exam and then you go to the last minute. You don't do all the classes, but you're willing to cram the last minute. No, these are hands-on skills that you're supposed to go provide on the job. But a lot of them are mostly soft skills and remote skills that you'll be here doing.
Wow, interesting. Wow, so it looks like there's a lot of opportunity for you if you're listening. And if any young person is not listening to this program, they should listen. Because what I wanted Mr. Lewis to do is to open it up so you know that you are actually qualified to benefit from this particular program today. Now let's look at your organization,
Great.
which is SBTS.
Thank you.
Tell us about SBTS.
Yes, this one will take you back to it will take you back to the 37 years ago that kind of what became the basis of SBTS.
Yes.
It means Sierra Business Technology Services. It used to mean Small Business Technology Services.
Yes.
But I think after we've done some work, one of our clients in the US told us, you're no longer small.
Yes.
So we changed the small to Sierra. But if I can go back, so back in '89 when I just got to the US, my mother, who was more or less a teacher as well, I was being a good boy because I have another brother. I'm sure he won't like me say it, but he will agree with me that he was the troublesome one. And my mother wanted to reward me that day with a Walkman, which back then was the iPhone of the day.
Oh, yes.
So we got to the store, and what was interesting then is when I got to the store, I realized that there's several things in there that I could choose other than the Sony Megabass. But then I saw this one screen going back and forth, and I'm like, what is that? I was thinking it was a TV.
Yeah.
Because this is 1989.
Wow.
So that's a long time
That's
ago.
a long
lot
time
of these people would not
ago.
have been born yet.
That's why I said you were.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I may feel like a dinosaur in here. So I asked my mom, I'm like, can I get the small TV? I'm like, I don't know what it is. My mom is like, okay, go and check and see what it is. So I went and I asked the gentleman, I'm like, what is this? He says, it's a computer. I said, what is a computer? Fresh off the boat, right?
Yes.
And then he started explaining. So the rest of it is history. But basically at that point in time, my mother could not afford that computer. So my paycheck, my sister's paycheck, and my mom's paycheck is what bought my first computer back in 1989.
Wow.
So then you don't have all of what you have now. The internet was not like what you have, in
Yes.
any way now. So how do you begin to learn how to use this thing? So I started reading the manuals. I started going to libraries. I started finding people that I could learn from, which there weren't a lot of. So as a black person in the U.S., you were limited to such opportunities to start with. But now I decided to start training myself on different types of skills around computer usage, and that became a little bit of a support in my own community, because I realized that many of my friends, first of all, didn't know what it was, but neither did they have one at home. So to have one at home for me was a big deal. Then I started training people in that room, in my little
Wow.
bedroom. When you start seeing the impact, it changes you. So this our industry, has lots of money. So if you can see, the richest people in the world come from this industry pretty much.
Yeah.
At least when you look at your top 10, they flood that the numbers up
Yeah.
there. And there's a reason for that, which is like this industry offers you opportunities regardless of your background. And I say that primarily because a lot of times we look at it and think like it's only for the privileged. No, it's not. It really is meant for those who want to take on opportunities, who wants to challenge themselves. And I'll say I'm a case in point in the sense that I wasn't cut out going towards the computer route. I was actually going to be a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
Because it was the fun thing to be. It was
Yeah.
either a lawyer or one of the diplomats.
Yes.
It was one of those two.
Yeah.
But as I was doing it, doing training people in my room, then I realized that, whoa, I'm beginning to make an impact. I was even beginning to get scared, like, whoa, I could do this. I can remember one of my friends from Larry, who's Nigerian here, and he was working at a low-end job, which we back then usually it's the front desk or like McDonald's, something like that. They don't pay you much, maybe $3-4 an hour. So I remember that we got through Windows NT, which is I'm sorry guys if you're hearing these words where you don't refer to
Yeah.
quite easily, because these are old softwares, right?
Yeah.
But Windows NT was like the big thing back then. It's kind of like the way we're talking about AI in terms of opportunities.
Yeah.
So I got Larry, started to get in his training, and gave me his first set of open sessions with computer training. And from making $3-4 an hour, you're now making $4 an hour. Let's even say $5 an hour. We were at $10,000 a year, which for the US is not significant. But back then it was maybe a bit.
Yeah.
And then from there, he got his first job at $38,000 a year. So you can see this was
After
like
the
multiple
training.
fold
Oh
just
my
after
goodness.
training.
Wow.
So I'm like, whoa. And then I had one of my other friends, Chiji, who's now based in the UK. He came much later in the game, but Chiji is now a major software developer in the UK. But I remember when he came, holding his hands or showing him around about the computer, and just seeing where they are now. We have one of our other students in one of the other countries that we worked in, and just seeing how he went through this type of training. And just last week, he was inviting me to come fly to Guinea to sign a
Really?
$500,000 contract. This is
Wow.
from a young fella that usually comes and sits around and begs for opportunities. Can you give me transportation? Can you give me this? To training, just usually A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, the usual classes, Cisco and some of those, and being able to take those opportunities. So my journey started quite early in just recognizing that we could empower other people to actually take a step forward in their lives through capacity building. And in that, is where my first company started. So initially, it didn't have a name. I was just a consultant,
Yeah.
just installing CD-ROMs, because back then these were big things
Wow.
to install, right? CD-ROMs, sound cards
Yeah.
in machines, and then learning how to build computers, at least through assembly myself,
Interesting.
and building them for people.
Wow.
So it started through there, and then it took different stages of the journey
Yeah.
across until we became a formal company more in 1999, which is why we take the journey back from where it started 37 years ago. But 1999 is really the real kickoff.
Yeah.
Which is when at that time I said, okay, it's time to get formal, because I was graduating from college as well, like
Yeah.
many of you.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the idea of going to go work for someone else. So with the experience that I've gotten, I started the company in 99, and then I only worked for 1 year as in a professional job, which was just to give me learning experiences or to affirm what I've already learned in
Yes.
some ways. And that only took me $67 to register that company back then in Arlington, Virginia. But what has happened over the years is that company has grown now to make millions of dollars over the years
Yes.
in that trajectory of providing technology services that ranges anywhere from training to software development, networking, the whole gamut. And it's taken me to over 49 countries in different ways that I've been traveling. So it's a journey that I can say many of you can take, because where I started from was not a rosy place. My family struggled initially. I remember when 15 cents is what I needed for food, but instead of putting that money to pay for transportation that day, I decided to just jump off of a transportation because I didn't want to pay, because I needed the 15 cents for lunch.
Wow.
And I had the bruises. If I take my shirt off, I'll show you. So I had the blood coming from my hand that day.
Wow.
And my mom was at the US, and I told her, she cried because she's like, but you could have died that day.
Yeah.
I said, yes, but I said, you don't understand what people go through. And that's why I'm saying, I'm speaking to you out there who's listening, to think that because of your current circumstances, that you might not be in a position to break the chain, or because you come from a poor family, you don't have the opportunity to grow. And I'm saying that despite the fact that those happened to me, my family is quite balanced. We have the wealthy part of it, we have the mixed part, but we are more or less people that are taught to do things on our own. My great-grandfather was the first African to be knighted here, and the first African mayor per se. So there's that old family money. But from when we're young, we're told you have to go and make your own.
Yeah.
He made his own money, you go make your own.
Yes.
So they teach us the hard struggle of life, and
Wow.
I really appreciate it.
We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we are going to be looking at what is that opportunity that's in here for you in the tech space, and how you'll be able to just grab from the opportunities and what you will be able to make out of it. We'll be right back.
Abuja, you're in luck. It's the upgrade promo from my Abuja Home Limited. For their Broadwater estate and plots in Gwagwalada, get 250 square meter for just 700k when you make an outright payment. That's a whopping 81% discount, or go premium with 500 square meters for only 1 million naira. That's 80% of the original price of 5 million naira. With our authentic FCT land document, you have no issues at all. We have a flexible payment plan for up to 12 months for your convenience. Get your land in Broadwater Estate, Paiko, Gwagwalada now, with green environment, accessible roads, power supply, guaranteed security, and lots more. Call or WhatsApp my Abuja Home on 0808 883 7426, 0808 883 7426, or 0808 272 3824, 0808 272 3824. Hurry now, promo ends soon. This opportunity is also open to military personnel. My Abuja Home Limited. Affordable. Live the life.
Arise and shine. Your Saturday just got better. It's the weekend drive crew of Miss Joan and Adele, Queen of the Mic. 83, correct. We will be turning up the vibes from sunrise to the afternoon. Get ready for non-stop hits, laughs, and the biggest weekend energy. We are cooking up fresh mixes, spilling the tea on the latest, and making your Saturday drive unforgettable. The weekend drive happens every Saturday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. only on your number one station, Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Your radio experience you can count on.
This is Eagles 102.3 FM.
Nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Yeah, I was broken from the day I was born, begotten into a race I didn't know how to run. Your sovereignty in this space.
All right, we'll come back to that so much later. It is Great Man Target with Look What You've Done, the remix right there with 121. I featured 121 on that one. And we are looking at, this is a Sunday's special edition of The Entrepreneur. You know that The Entrepreneur runs from Mondays all the way to Fridays, where you get to promote what you do. Now, on this particular edition, it is a special one, and we are looking at how you can be or become in the tech space. And we are here with Mr. Evelyn Lewis, and he's given us a background to how this particular organization came to be. And now let's look at what SBTS has brought to Nigeria. What is SBTS planning, or what is SBTS doing to help the young Nigerian to become just like the folks you mentioned, who are now big in the tech space, who started from nothing to something? What is it that SBTS is bringing to the table for young people like myself?
Oh, well, thank you very much. We're certainly youth inspired, and the opportunities are immense, but let's take it one bite at a time, because a lot of them will eventually want you to get some level of mastery. But I think the key thing is the partnership that we've established with the Digital Bridge Institute. I want you to take that name down, because that is the primary institute under which we're operating with as a partner.
Okay.
And with the Digital Bridge Institute, they have built a solid resume over the years of building capacity for tech workers in supporting Nigeria's technology growth. So way back from the NITEL days, when they were training people on skills that were mostly done by foreigners, they've been training people to pick up on a lot of these skills. So, I mean, we know that things had slowed down for them a bit, and our partnership has helped to work closely with them, because we complement each other so well, being that we've brought a course platform of over 820 courses for them.
Wow.
Both a combination of instructor-led and some e-learning as well. But in this partnership, what is important is that we have a tech focus, but also one that provides supporting job roles. And in the job roles that we are looking at is over 60 career sets, which we would share with folks along the line through DBS website. And in this partnership, we've decided that at least jointly we want to maximize all of DBI's potential, because DBI covers all the geozones in terms of where they're located. So they have a campus in Adamawa, in Yola, and then they have another campus in Kano. They have another campus in Lagos. They have one here in Abuja, where we're based now. They have one in Enugu, and then they have one also in Asaba. Asaba is still under upgrade, and what we have done to work closely with them is to help upgrade the campuses to a functional state for those that were not already doing some businesses, and that is still ongoing. But the importance of that is that we wanted to make sure that we could touch people over Nigeria. So now our immediate goal is to train 50,000 Nigerians within the next 3 years, and place them on jobs. So that's part of what is
So
different
I will
with
be
this.
trained, and then I will get a job.
Place, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So that's the goal. And we know one of the challenges, within the industry is how can you afford to get the requisite training? And I think that's where some of the challenges come from, because we've looked at, there are lots of digital literacy programs that you see all over the place, and they'll tell you train on tech and train on that, but then at the end of the day, it does not necessarily result to a job. What we've done is to create a program called the ICBM program, which is not the intercontinental ballistic missile. It's a different missile that should launch the human capacity, which is meant to be an intelligent capacity building model. So really what it is focused on is putting you as a student in the middle within a 3 to 6 month career track where you're fully supported. And when we say you're fully supported, that means from the computer that you need, the tuition that you need, the smartphone that you need, because many times we go to places where people ask you for tuition as soon as they see me. Sometimes, Mr. Lewis, I owe the school, they won't allow me. Well, we have a policy that you don't turn the student away, but you can be creative in how you get that student prepared and let them pay you later. So it's the same model that we're using now, which is now structured, fully funded, so that you're trained and then you're placed. and then you can pay this as you go back, to the company or whichever way you decide to go.
Interesting.
Now, with these 50,000 folks that we're training, that spans across all kinds of career sets. So you can start from as a basic point of like a call center agent, a digital marketing, a professional, all the way up to skills like AI development, cybersecurity operations as well. And what we're doing that's also interesting is most times you go to a teaching hospital, you find that the hospital is in the school, but you don't see that in the tech space that often.
Yes,
So
actually.
in the case of
Yeah.
this particular implementation, the centers are being built on campus.
This is
So the
interesting.
first model is we've just finished with that one in Abuja. It's ready to take off on July 14th. And Enugu as well. The Enugu campus serves the southeast region.
Wow.
So that southeast campus also is ready for shooting up. And the other campuses are also coming up as well. But the program itself starts on July 14th.
Okay.
And then those jobs, at least for the Abuja Center, that's 1,050 people that would fill out within the next 3 months.
Wow.
And then we are building, more seats, thanks to our partners, Peace Invest, which is one of our investment partners, besides our own funds that we've put in directly. And the goal is to be able to scale this program across Nigeria.
Interesting.
They support entrepreneurship programs like ours that have mass impact on people. We're not here to train another person that is just going to sit at home. If that's the thing of putting a check mark on it, we're the wrong place for you.
Yeah.
But if you really want to make impact, you want to challenge yourself, we work and play hard. So that's what we're going to tell you from the get-go. Once you become part of this ecosystem, we give you support throughout, which is we do assessments. I mean, if you realize, for those of you who might be applying for this, we not only do technical assessment, we also do some level of psychoanalysis,
Yeah.
because we want to support your growth. So we want to know what challenges have you been through
Yeah.
that have held you back, whether they were mental, whether they were trauma from other events. We want to see how to give you that support.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this is a different coin
It is,
of
really.
how we are trying to implement this
Yeah.
program. And then once you're in the program, as we said, there are 2 tracks. We have an entry-level track, which after you're done with the 3-month entry-level track, you will start a minimum of 300,000 naira per month.
Wow.
And then after you're done with the technical track, you will start a minimum of 500,000 naira per month. These are absolute minimums. That means they will not fall below that, and you can take my word for it. And it goes up from there. From how it goes up, I can tell you, I know this industry. I was a baby in this industry. I was a teenager in this industry. When I say can go up, maybe you might even come back in the following months. At least people, here's your small thing. I want to go do my own thing, and we are more than welcome. You're more than welcome to do that, because our growth is we don't want to hold anyone as a hostage.
Yeah.
Which is that if you find opportunities that are bigger, that pays you more, please be our guest. Yesterday we had a visit from the Honorary Consul for Sierra Leone to Jamaica.
Okay.
Dr. Rosalie, who was also the vice principal at the West Indies University, one of the universities there, paid a visit to the center. And she was very excited because she says, this is also different. And it's something
It
they
is,
would like to replicate in the Jamaican scene.
Wow.
And from her standpoint, this is where Nigeria needs to be heading.
Now let's look at, even though we don't have much time left, but somebody is listening and they would love to be part of the first 1,500. So what do we need to do? And do I get to, because there are people who might want to get into the space, but they're not sure of what course they might want to take and all of that. So what do we do?
Yes, so basically you'll have career advisors.
Yes.
The first thing first is to learn this website now, which is www.dbi.edu.ng. And that's D for David, B for boy, I for Ibrahim, and then it's .edu.ng. So DBI's website will be hosting a lot of that information for you guys in the coming days. You'll see a lot more information. Keep adding. We're building this plane and we're flying it at the same time, because there are lots of different information that are out there. Because the career spans are so much, we have some AI tools that would help you to select your career choice. It's not final, but they will give you some recommendations after you've done your appraisal online, because we anticipate some large rushes.
Yeah.
So we are planning for it by making sure that we can streamline those processes.
Beautiful.
Because with many hundreds of thousands of people applying, we would not have the resource to do it. But we can shorten, that by using some tools.
Okay.
As I say, we're a development company first, so trust me, we're deep into the AI space already. We're using the tools
Yes.
effectively, and we're certainly hoping that can help to provide a lot of information and help people to select the right career choices.
Beautiful. If you're listening to this program, I think you should make the 1,500. I would love for you to make the 1,500. You could be a pioneer, a part of this whole wonderful team that's coming up. We're actually live on Facebook right now. Just look for @Eagles FM. Drop your questions, and we will always forward it to Mr. Lewis, even if he's out of the studio. I can see some of you watching, but if you have any questions, because if he leaves the studio, you might want to send your questions to the DBI website, or you might want to send it to us. Once you post it on the Facebook page, we will be able to forward the questions to him. So if you, we're going to repeat the website. We will repeat that for somebody to write it, so you can write it down and then go check whatever the opportunities are on the website.
Yes, and that's www.D for David, B for boy, I for Ibrahim, .edu.ng. That's dbi.edu.ng. And exactly on July 1st, you can jump on that site and you'll see everything you need to see.
Everything
there,
you need
right
to
in
see,
there,
and
on there.
I don't know, but you should jump on this one. You should jump on this one. So let's look at, before we leave the studio, for must I be out of the NYC space for me to be able to benefit from this?
Well, so here's the methodology we use.
Yes.
I mean, the answer is yes or no, but
Okay.
there's a preference that you have actually finished your first college
Okay.
degree.
Okay.
Now, we are not entirely not going to support registrations that are not. They're given preference just because we don't want you to be distracted when you're on the job. Because this is a full-time job that you're going into.
That's right.
So we don't want it to be that you have to go to classes and things like that. What you could look at is an internship track,
Okay.
which we would eventually make available for those who are
Beautiful.
still in school. Now, if you've been out of school for a while, there's some remedial programs that we will be discussing
Awesome.
with DBI on how to work with institutions across Nigeria
Okay.
to make sure that you're job ready.
All right.
But we wanted to make sure that once you grab that seat, we don't have to call clients across the world and tell
Yeah.
them why you can't make it that day.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good at all. I really wish we had more time, because I wish maybe we would create more time for this.
Certainly.
Because we need to, there's a lot to break down
Yes.
for our listener. But then
Yes.
thank you so much for stopping by.
No, thank you so much for giving me the opportunities, and I'm looking forward to you guys.
Awesome.
And for those of you out there who've struggled, please, there's a lot more at stake. There's a lot more in store for you.
That's right.
Don't give up. Keep fighting. Keep pushing. Keep trying, and keep trusting God. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Awesome.